the Doc from the Stogie Fresh 5 podcast, and you're listening to The Geeks, the Stogie Geeks, with Tim and Paul. Kick back and enjoy as the Geeks kick ass each week. Listen in to the regular episodes as they smoke and chat about their weekly list of stogies. And now, back to the Stogie Geeks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Stogie Geeks Show. We got the rest of the studio muted. Just a couple of quick announcements. Wanted to remind everyone of our sponsors. Of course, Mr. J, Havana Smoke Shop, proud sponsor of the Stogie Geeks, including Joyous Liquors. You can get the entire line of J. Grotto series cigars. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode that we do here sometime in September for a very special announcement. Looking forward to that very, very much. So, like I said before, you can buy the J. Grotto series cigars. You can buy the Joyous Brendan Bourbon, all right here at Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop, which is outstanding. And also the Havana Cigar Club in Warwick, Rhode Island. You can print a $5 off coupon for them and attend their lounge. Receive $5 off your drink and cigar. And you can find all of our sponsor information on the StogieGeeks.com website. That's StogieGeeks.com. You can find all of the fabulous reviews from Will Cooper of the cigar-coop.com blog. And like I said before, we are partnered very much so. So you can visit both of our websites and find the information here in the show. Read all of the reviews. Just the Will's now set up. I'm going to unmute Will. Will's set up now to be able to post to our Stogies feed. I'm very much looking forward to that. Got him set up for that. So he's posting to our Stogies feed where you can find over 500 cigars that we've reviewed in our mini review system. And more and more, Will, I'm referring back to your blog. If I smoke something, I try and find that you've reviewed it. And more often than not, you've reviewed the cigar that I smoked of the week. That's how diverse your smoking palette is. So we appreciate that.
I appreciate it. We have another 500 in-depth reviews on Cigar Coop that it's now part of the Stogie Geeks family, and folks can tap into that. And we're really looking forward to, it's news, reviews, podcast, conversation with cigar people. I really think this is something special we're building here. And I'm really looking forward to it.
It's a great point on the news as well. Will keeps up with the news, so make sure you go there to find out everything that's happening in the cigar industry. So it's a great combination for everything for the cigar enthusiast. I wanted to go around the room and talk about what we've been smoking. We didn't mention it at the beginning of the show, but we all picked something different, something new that we maybe haven't talked about on the show before to review. I'll get it started. I'm smoking the new Partagas Benji Menendez Master Series. Stogie San Paulo. So what? This is new. It just came in. Is it a brand new size, or it's the same size as the original release?
No, it's not the same. That's a new release.
This is the new. Is it a different size?
It's got the same name. It's the Maestro.
Maestros, but I think it's a smaller size
than last year. But the original release was very similar to this size. It's it's very good. It's got a lot of punch to it, a lot of nice spice and pepper.
I'm talking about the punch, a little bit stronger than the original one.
But a nice flavor, pairing very well with the bourbon, keeping up with it. The bourbon doesn't overpower it, or the cigar doesn't overpower the bourbon. Yeah, I could sit here all night and smoke this and drink bourbon.
I don't think that takes much, buddy.
It's kind of the little social engineering trick we have on everyone is we're doing a show, but we're sitting around smoking and drinking and having a good time
doing
as well.
What we do.
Doing what we do and calling it a show. Mark Jr., what did you end up smoking?
I reached out for a new release in one of my favorite smaller brands out there. It's the new Aging Room Maduro, and I went for the Presto size simply because that was my favorite size in the original Aging Room. It's very nice.
Is there multiple sizes in this new Maduro?
Yeah, there's 3, right?
There's 3.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, what do you think about the strength on that thing? Because I actually had that as one of my smokes of the week, and that thing had a lot more strength than I expected.
I agree. It's considerably more spicy and peppery than the original Aging Room blend. And Stogie Santa's, when he finally gets this, is going to like it because it's that spice that hangs out in the back of your mouth, the back nine that Stogie's that talks about a lot. And I found it to be very, 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 very good, actually. And it's a very nice addition to their ever-expanding repertoire of cigars. So,
what are you smoking, Paul?
I'm smoking the new J.D. Howard, the number 52. And I smoked the 48 a couple of nights ago, and I have to be honest with you, I actually enjoyed the 48 more than the 52. I don't know if it's just what I'm drinking, but I can be honest. I mean, I find it's got a dry finish, and I don't think it has the flavor. To me, it was.
I said the same thing last week about the 52, but I hadn't smoked the 48 yet. But I said the exact same thing about that ring gauge.
And I'm smoking the 48, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the cigar.
And this is the J.D. Howard Reserve? Is
yes.
That and that's getting a lot of buzz in the industry right now.
Yeah,
a lot of buzz.
It's a good little cigar, but again, you know me and the dryness.
Oh, it's dry.
But I really like the 46. I thought the 46 was
I want to try
nice
the 46. The 40, it's okay. It's
The 46 were back ordered. I did not
yeah,
get
gotcha.
it.
The 48 was okay. It's not quite my palate, but I can see why people like this particular cigar, but it just doesn't fit my profile at this point. So I'll have to smoke another one to get a good assessment on it.
And how
Now,
about
Will,
you,
I see you smoking something over there in the typical Will smoking fashion.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, but patent that.
Yes.
I guess Mark Jr. and I were thinking alike, but I went with the Aging Room M21 Fortissimo, the Perfecto.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of those. What do you think so far?
It's a definite. First of all, it's one of the best rolled Perfectos I've had. This thing has no soft spots, and it's got some strength. They're saying it's one of the strongest Dominican. Am I missing something?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah, you are. Sorry.
Paul's brother Dennis came in and just handed us a bottle of Jameson.
Okay.
And Mark was smelling it, and
thinking
wonderful things
26.
were happening with his senses that I won't describe. Good thing he's not on camera. So you're liking the aging room, Will?
Yeah, it's a typical Dominican profile. It's not very complex. It definitely has a lot more strength than your father's Dominican, that's for sure. It's got some grassy and bready component. It's actually very good. It's actually a very good
My glasses
cigar.
are full.
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. So, Mark Jr., why don't you start us off with our smokes of the week while I get it pulled up over here?
No sweat. I actually had a tough week in terms of my sinuses.
Yeah, you did.
So I only have a couple smokes this week. I smoked a couple more, but I couldn't really bring much to the table on them. But the first one I smoked was a Paul Grammarian Symphony 20, the 2013 edition Corona Extra.
This is the
which
new one?
is a new one, exactly. It's a 5.5 by 46 Corona Extra with the Ecuadorian Habano wrapper and Dominican filler that you'd be accustomed to in the other sizes. They retail at roughly $12 to $13 in that area. Like I said, this is a line extension released this year, also with a Robusto, as well as re-releasing the Connoisseur Toro. Truth be told, I've always found this line to be very tasty, but I'd never fallen in love with any of the sizes. I do like the Salomon, but the Salomon's not for me in terms of
size.
Size, exactly. But that being said, this Vitola stands up perfectly to the others, and it delivered some really nice earth. And a nice toasted flavor, almost like a toasted grain flavor, and it had a very slight but pleasing sweetness. I would say these are probably a box split at this point. Certainly wouldn't mind having 10 of these hanging around. The only thing holding me back from price, from being box worthy, is the price. They are quite expensive. So, but that being said, very good smoke.
Now, Paul, have you smoked anything recently that is worth mentioning, or sampling anything new? I know it's hard. We talked about how the difficult balance that you strike between having your own cigar brand and having the retail shop.
The only thing I've actually smoked this week was 2 different sizes on these J.D. Howards.
Yep.
There was a couple others. Actually, I did smoke one of the the small Maduro. We have out there, and I actually love that cigar.
Yeah, I agree. That whole line, I agree. That whole line is pretty good, man.
I like the
I'm
wine.
digging it.
What I'm really looking forward to, now, that product came in today, and we're talking about the aging room Perfecto that you smoked, Will, and the aging room Maduros, and I no sooner had the box in my hand, taking it out of the crate. I got Mark Jr. making eyes and hand signals. He's already taken some of them aside.
Well, I got Mark's IPCPR sample of that cigar, and
you smoked it on the show, and you really liked it.
I did.
Yes.
It was fantastic, and that's a box worthy smoke for sure.
Yeah.
Stogie Santa.
What was the name of the Roma Craft that we smoked today? You gave me the sample.
Was it the Intemperance?
No.
Aquitaine?
Oh, the Aquitaine.
I'll tell you, what a nice smoke.
What size is that?
That's what, 6x52 or 54?
They make a few sizes, actually, I think.
An
Don't they?
Aquitaine.
Was
I
it
think
the
there's
Robusto, the
The
EMH?
Robusto. Yeah, yes. I really, I'll tell you what, nice spice, toastiness, and what I liked, it had a little subtle sweetness to it. Really, really nice smoke. Full body smoke. I just took that down. What time did Paul call me? I said around, say, 5 o'clock this afternoon. Mm-hmm. Great smoke. I really enjoyed it. It was
Actually,
really...
another one I did smoke today, I forgot, was the new LaFleur, the
Chapter 1?
Yeah, no, not the Chapter 1, the Limitada, the box press Limitada.
That was a
Is
good
that
smoke,
is
too.
that the chisel box press?
No, Chapter 1 is.
Okay.
The Chapter 1's the chisel.
Well, no one with the Roma and the different one. Have you smoked that cigar at all yet?
Yeah, in fact, when the Cro-Magnon came out, I thought it was a good cigar. This one has the Habano wrapper on it, and I think the Aquitaine with the Habano wrapper, that blend works real good.
Isn't it a nice... Did you get any sweetness off that? Just a little bit?
Yep.
I just really... It was not overly complex, but it was just really tasty. And I'll tell you what, when I found it in the beginning like maybe a medium, but halfway through, what I enjoyed was not only the flavor change, but amped up nice on the strength too, to a medium full.
I agree.
Yeah.
Will,
Yeah.
did you smoke the Intemperance?
I've smoked it, yeah, and in fact, that's probably my favorite of the Roma Craft blends, the BA. And Arapiraca wrappers hit or miss with me, and they got it working with that. It's really a good smoke.
I had the Petit Corona from them, and remember they were unbanded. Those were really good.
I never got those.
Really good.
I just heard so many wonderful things about it from different people.
Is that? I'm sorry. Is that the wrapper on the J.D. Howard too? Is that the Arapiraca?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Arapiraca.
I like saying that in the show.
That's
it's got a nice
on
sound
the
to
J.D.
it.
Howard.
What is a correct pronunciation of that then?
Arapiraca.
Arapiraca.
Yeah, I think Mark Jr.'s got it nailed.
Arapiraca.
That's Brazilian. That's Brazilian,
Yeah.
correct?
It is,
Yep.
yes.
But anyway, the Aquitaine was, and I tell you, the dry draw from that.
Now, do you need to have a Brazilian to smoke the
I
Brazilian?
wish I did have a Brazilian. My wife was on the deck. I said, I'm sorry.
I'm smoking a Brazilian. I need a Brazilian.
I just told her to go, caraca, caraca. Whatever.
Oh, you're talking about the actual Brazilian people. I was thinking, when he said Brazilian, I was thinking more like the wax job.
That's what I was referring to was the wax shop.
Wax on, wax
So,
off.
Will, what have you been smoking this week?
Well, I'm gonna kick it right off since we were talking about the Garmerian. I smoked, and this was gifted to me by Stogie Santa, the Paul Garmerian Symphony 20 Salomonis. And that is a wrapper that's not disclosed, Havana seed binder, 4 complex tobaccos is listed as a filler. It's a 6 7/8 by 57 Salomon shape. It's got a hefty price tag of $21, so I'm very appreciative of that. And Stogie Santa absolutely had told me I got to smoke this cigar, and I had not had the blend before. I loved it, and I'm not a big Salomon's guy. I mean, it started out toasty, creamy, little cedar. It built up into this toasted nut and pepper, and the pepper kind of grew gradually throughout the smoke. It really didn't overpower you at the end. Never became a spice bomb. That thing from the Perfecto, the Salomon burned real good.
Yep.
It was, I really liked it. In fact, I said it's a cigar I'd fight Chuck for in the end there. So I loved it.
It's got to be one of my most favorite cigars of all time. I would say. I'm going to go on a limb and say that.
I had never smoked that blend before, and Garmerians are hard to find down in North Carolina, and it was everything you guys said.
Hey, Will, let me ask you a question, because Mark and I smoked a cigar about a week and a half ago, and just fell in love with it. And as soon as we posted it on Facebook, you were all over it. The new Christian Aroa, the Aroa brand that we smoked, that little one.
Yes.
I think that was a 3.5 by whatever it is, 3.5 by 50.
I forgot
The regular
Yeah, it's
Aroa.
a short. Yeah, it's like a short
Like a
Robusto.
little-
Yeah.
It's like a little petite.
You guys had the box press, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that cigar was fantastic.
In fact, I did too. It was, in my opinion, it may be the best to come out of that CLE umbrella.
By far.
By far.
No doubt, no doubt.
It's a top 10 cigar right now for the year in my book.
think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That. And you know what's funny though? I've been having feedbacks on that. And excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off, Will. I had some people saying they didn't get all the hype.
Well, I've smoked two different sizes, and both sizes delivered.
I tell you what, the one thing I did like about that particular cigar was the spice. I thought the spice was extremely well done.
Well,
right amount of balance of spice.
You took the words right out of my mouth. If there was a description of, you can call it spice, you can call it earth, balance. The balance of that cigar was amazing.
Yep.
So,
and I thought it was that there was a little sweetness in there, and I used the term a couple weeks ago, baker's spice. Yes. And that's kind of where I don't know if it's that Corojo tobacco in there working magic, but I just really liked the way those flavors came out with that thing.
Boy, it came together real well.
And I didn't even want to. And when I saw it was all Honduran, I said,
I can't believe that. That's one thing I can't believe that.
I don't know. He knows.
Doesn't embody that profile, but I tell you what,
Christian,
they did a great job blending that
Christian's
cigar.
right hand and his little pinky, but he knows what I know, what he knows. And I tell you what, there was a very subtle hint of dryness, not very much at all. I was amazed.
I know, you keep talking about that.
I can't. And,
no, for a Honduran, that's pretty special.
I say Honduran hot burn because I get too much Honduran. I can't help it. It just not that cigar. Amazing cigar.
So I smoked something from La Garita, which is the Falto Delirio. This one I think is one to watch. I talked about this cigar before, and I smoked it again because I had a sample. Of course, these just came off the truck too. I'm calling this one a 5er. I seem to always smoke these when they come in, and the draw on both of the ones I've had have been a little bit snug. Smokable, but a little bit snug. So I'm curious to see what this cigar does once it has, a couple of months to rest in the humidor. I have to say though, these are pretty good. I'm really liking this. It's a brand I'd never heard of before. They've got a lot of different sizes under the Falto brand. This size is the Delirio. It's kind of like a petite Lancero almost size. And I gave it a 5er for now, but I think with rest, these are really going to come to life. Has anyone else had this particular?
No.
Blender. I'll have to.
No, I have not.
I'll have to get it to you guys.
Yeah, I know we were talking about the other day, Paul. Yeah, I'm interested by it.
They're pretty popular because when I'm on the road, I see them.
Really?
I see them in the shops that carry boutique stuff.
Yeah, it's a very boutique-y kind of. I want to say the manufacturer, the guy that blended them, is from Puerto Rico or something.
Oh, it's what's his name?
I can't remember his name. I looked up their
website.
What's
his
briefly.
name? I can't. I just want to bring.
Yeah,
it down.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
the Puerto Rican guy.
Mark Jr., back to you.
All right, so this will round out my Stogies of the week, but I reached out and I tried a La Riqueza Cabinet Petite Robusto. Going back to last week's show, this is one of my most underrated brands.
And that's a regular production. They make a petite.
They do.
Excellent.
In the cabinet size, they do, which are the non-box press versions. Of
Okay.
La Riquezas, and they come packaged like a traditional cabinet in like a cedar box, as opposed to the paper wrapped regular boxes that they come in. This is a 4 1/3 by 52 Petite Robusto. It's Connecticut broadleaf Maduro wrapper and a Nicaraguan binder and filler. It was really good. Other than the fact that it was not box pressed, it's exactly the same as the other one. So that being said, it had like a nice cocoa sweetness mixed with some pepper and spice, and really, really great construction. Hey, I think this is again a box split. I think they come in boxes at 30.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken.
It's like a weird box count size.
Yeah. I'll double check that, but yeah.
I love that size, so I definitely split a box.
That would have been a great question for KC to ask. Well, La Riqueza and Cabo Juan not having a Tatuaje label or name or anything to it, does it deter any of its sales?
Or more of a question for Pete, right, when he comes on the show.
Yeah, true.
We'll get Pete on the show.
Yeah, we'll get Pete on the show.
I think it's a great follow-up to have Pete on the show right after Casey, right?
That could. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, listening to him on the show, you don't know who's who.
Yeah, really.
Wow,
Did you, if he could have came on and said he was Pete, could you tell the difference in the voice? I can't.
Maybe we'll do a little play at our listeners. And
Must be the ice water.
Yeah.
I was wrong. They come in boxes of 25.
Okay, sorry. No problem.
Sorry
We'll let
about
it go
that.
like that. No, we'll
Stogie Santa?
No, I was a little under the weather this week, and those are the two cigars that I took down this week. It's been a very small week for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Will, back to you.
Okay, I smoked the East Stunner, the new upcoming release by E.P. Carrillo, in the Toro, they're calling it the Brahman side, which I think is a type of cattle. So just a kind of caveat, I had this cigar at the show, and it was very young. It wasn't ready. And just knowing EPC, they're very consistent. I put a few of them that I got from the show away. I smoked a couple over the weekend, and night and day. I guarantee you, this is what they knew this blend was going to be. This is a really good blend. It's so they're doing two things different. First of all, they're using an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, but the first thing different is they're using a higher priming than they normally do. So it's kind of what Casey was talking about earlier. Second thing is there's Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. They're using a higher percentage of Nicaraguan filler than what Ernesto normally uses. So he normally goes 80% Dominican, 20% Nicaraguan. Now he's doing 50-50. So it's meant to be an amped up blend there. This cigar had loads of complexity and flavor nuances. I mean, I picked up notes left and right. It was like all that harsh pepper that I had when the cigar was young. There's still a nice, now it's more of an exotic spice there. You'll pick up notes of earth, nut, pepper, coffee, cream, hickory. I even picked up this faint melon sweetness in the first stages of it, which it is I just picked up a lot of flavors. I was really shocked considering like 6 weeks ago where this cigar was. It's a medium to full in terms of strength and body. I didn't assign a rating yet, but because it's pre-release. But I think this is going to be another winner for him. I just hope that when they arrive in the stores, they're like this, because I'd like to see this cigar really get off to a good start, because it's good.
It's funny you said
that's one I got to revisit for sure. Yeah,
remember, I had the East Stunner at the show, and the first thing I told Paul, I don't get it. It's just all unbalanced. I didn't like the cigar. Extremely young, but like you're saying, look at the short runs when they first came in.
Yep.
The same thing.
Same thing.
And you knew what was going to happen. It's no surprise. So
yeah, now they're fantastic.
Yeah,
I was surprised in 6 weeks. It was a big difference.
6 weeks is a lot of time. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to revisit that one for sure. I smoked a Padron 1926 80th anniversary Torpedo Maduro. Speaking of age, this one does not have a lot of age on it at all. Actually, I bought it in the shop. They said these had come in not too long ago. And it's just an amazing smoking experience. They're fuller bodied, tons of flavor. At the same time, what really struck me is that they are very, very smooth. Extremely, even when you buy a box that had just come in the store, very, very smooth. The smoke, for me, changes up slightly as you go, which is not something you normally associate with Padron as a whole ton of complexity. But I think this shape, there's a nice spice and pepper up front. The middle is nice and smooth. And the finish, as we've talked about with Padron, right, is impeccable. It's this amazing melding pot of chocolate and sweetness by the time you get to the end of the cigar. And you just can't go wrong with the smoke. Even at $30, roughly retail, a stick on this. These are box worthy. They come in boxes of 8. And I tell you, if you have to have a box of something really special, having something that is of this quality, comes in a box of 8, even at that price point, you're doing yourself a favor by having these in a box in your humidor, for sure. Now, do they make this in a natural wrapper?
Yes, they do. It's not. I'll tell you what.
I've never had it in the natural wrapper before.
Paul gave me a natural some time back, and it didn't. It just didn't. It's nowhere near the taste of the Maduro. One of the few times that the natty the natural didn't live up in that 26 line, and it was not very Padron-like for me.
Mark Jr., I know you're lighting up your next smoke over there.
I'm out of smokes. I told you I only had the 2.
Oh, that's it. That's all you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
I smoked a couple of cigars, but it was hard. It was hard for me to talk about them.
Yeah.
Because it was just.
Will, Paul, did you have something? I'm sorry.
Actually, yeah. I was in the humidor today. I was digging for something, And I'm sure you saw it because Mark he's always got his nose in anything that's.
He knows what's happening back there in the humidors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how many? Now you probably know better than I. There's an old, and I mean old. It's got to be 12. Got to be 12 years old. There's an old box of Patron Magnums buried in a corner.
Wow.
How many cigars are in that box?
Probably maybe what?
None?
I don't know. I
don't have any
full
more.
before Mark peeked in, and now. Are there any Maduros in there? I thought I had
A couple, not many.
Yeah, there was some Maduros.
Yeah.
Those things
They're
are
big.
12 to 13 years old.
All of that.
Yeah, that should be. I think we're gonna have to give one of those a test ride.
Yeah. Yes. It's funny you said that. It really, truly is.
That's not going to be an after lunch smoke.
No,
though,
that's gonna
considering
take
it's
some
9
time.
inches long. Yeah.
Will, back to you.
Okay, so the aging room Maduro, I smoked the Mezzo, which is the 6x54 Toro. It's a Nicaraguan binder with Dominican Habano binder and filler. This kind of, my buddy Big Scott, who works at the local shop, handed this to me yesterday. He wanted me to smoke it with him. He was telling me, you know, he had one and really liked it. And this is totally different than any other aging room I've had. It really had a lot of firepower. It's an amped up Maduro in my book. It's got a good dose of pepper throughout it. It had notes of espresso, and I think it brought out this like hazelnut sweetness. It starts out medium to full bodied. It becomes a full bodied smoke, but I was really surprised at on the back nine of Stogies Sandus is how the strength gets amped up on this thing.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Rafael Nodal, he talked to the media at the show, and he really was emphatic saying this cigar is ready. He said this is not a young cigar. He goes, we're absolutely releasing this. He felt at his peak time. It showed no signs of that. It was a great smoke. I didn't rate it because, again, it was kind of last-minute smoke. It has a $9.06 MSRP for this size. So it's a little higher price than normal. But I would encourage, if you like that amped-up Maduro, to give this a try. I think a lot of folks are going to be surprised by this cigar.
And, you know, it's interesting. Some people do and some people don't with that amped-up Maduro kind of thing. Some people like that flavor. It's like you either like it or you don't. There's really no middle ground when it comes to that amped-up Maduro. Along those lines, Paul, I wanted to ask you, we talked a little bit about, you know, smokes that come to market and they're a little young. How do you gauge when to release a cigar? And I know you may or may not be on the cusp of that, but how do you gauge when you've released quite a few cigars, and we've talked about it. Sometimes cigars come out, they're a little young. Sometimes cigars come out, and you can take them right out of the box and smoke them. And you got to play that balance, right, of the market is very competitive, and you want to get smokes out there with making sure that when it comes out, people are really going to be excited about it and not going, oh, it's young kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to give you a split answer, but Will already gave you the answer on that question a few minutes ago. When you smoke, if I'm smoking a brand new release from any company, you know, you've got the demand, people are asking for it, you're going to put it out. There are times I've taken stuff off. I think Will probably remembers this. I know Mark remembers it years back when they came out with the LE05. When they released those in April or so, they were unsmokable. They were just that harsh. And I said, you know what, I'm not even putting these out.
Right.
I really had a strong feeling they were going to develop. I put them away for about 3 months. And it wasn't until I had grabbed one out of a box and said, let me give these a shot. And it was like, oh, my God. It was just, they just exploded.
Yeah. That's a great example of a sharp contrast, right? Between,
unbelievable. That went from actually a bad cigar, it was unsmokable, to just buy everyone you can get.
Wow.
And in here, in my own shop, and with this stuff that comes in, and you know, a lot of the releases, even though these manufacturers say they don't release anything, you know, until it's ready, they're still going to do it. With my own stuff, this isn't my first rodeo now. We smoke something. If we don't think it's right, I don't care if it's, you know, what I'll do is I'll normally one a month.
Yeah, give it a month.
1 month, smoke it again. This way there I can see the progression.
Yeah.
But I will not let it go. I've only got one shot to make a first impression with every blogger like Will. And you just can't, you don't get a second shot. So you sit back, show some patience, and it's a gut feeling. When you feel, wow, this thing has got it, then you release it.
Right.
Because if you're lucky enough to get a person like Will smoking a cigar, he's going to be able to say, at this point, I'm not going to give it a rating because it's not its potential. But on the flip side, you give it to another person who doesn't understand the potential in a cigar.
Absolutely.
Comes down to the person's palate.
It's a palate.
It's
Will's
a good
going
point.
to be able to figure this out very easily.
Right.
And that's the dangerous road on letting it come out because with the project Paul's working with now, it's been from when we were in Vegas to now. We just couldn't. He said, "Oh," I said, "We can't do it." And you see the progression. It's really neat. It's really neat to not just Paul cigar, all cigars. That maturation point, so to speak, on that cigar, and it makes all the difference in the world.
What's your deal when you've got a panel like the Stogie Geeks panel here, and yourself, Will, and some other guys? I mean, we're talking, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, excuse the pun, but you're probably talking when it comes to knowledge and taste and understanding potential in tobacco, you're probably talking, what, the top 5% of people, of smokers out there? 95% don't get what, you guys and like what we get. And from a consumer standpoint, it can be fatal to let it go early. You just can't do it.
What did Jonathan Drew tell you?
Yeah. You know what?
Put it the way he said it. What did he say?
I've asked Jonathan a couple of times, and I asked him that question. I said, if you've got something and you really want to let it go at the show, do you let it go? And he said, when people ask you all the time, gee, when are you letting it? When are you going to release it? When are you going to release it? He looked at me and he says, my answer's always the same. He goes, and Paul, you're venturing into my area now. You should have the same answer. I'll let it go when it's fucking ready. Not before. Until it's let it go when it's fucking ready. And he said it again.
Look at Nosotros is a great example of that. It wasn't ready. And that cigar, if you have some of them left, that's a great cigar now.
I did. I reviewed that on the show quite a few episodes ago, and it was good.
Yeah.
Speaking of progression, I smoked an EP Carrillo Core Line Robusto. Now, this is from one of the first releases of the Core Line. I bought the box when I was here at Mr. J Havana Smoke Shop. EP Carrillo was here in person. He signed my box of cigars.
That's after you let go of his leg.
Yeah, after I let go of his leg. A little humping going on. But
love.
Yeah, I bought the box, and I've been smoking, 1 or 2 a year as they progress. And I smoked another one, and it was just great to, as you say, see the progression. It was good when it first came out. And then you smoke one every once in a while, and you kind of see this progression. I mean, they're just awesome right now. Still plenty of sweetness and spice and flavor. I did a little dance of joy just knowing that I had more than half a box left of these that I can just keep smoking in progression and seeing how they change. I think these are absolutely box worthy. A great cigar. We reviewed them on the show quite a few shows ago now, and they were smoking great then. They're even a little bit different now, which is just great to have that box and smoke them and have it be kind of a little bit of a different smoking experience each time. I think is what really contributes a lot to this great hobby.
It was funny when Ernesto was here. I says, what was that?
It had to
6 months ago. No, not when you.
It was about 3 years ago
he was here. 6-8 months ago, if that. And I asked him about his Limitado release, and guess what one he likes the most out of all the Limitado releases he's had?
2009.
Yep.
12.
He likes the original. He likes the original one the most.
And that cigar went through a lot of changes over time.
Oh, it has, and I don't know where.
The 2012 has done that too, man.
They morphed.
That's why I was saying that. Yeah,
they were not that great in the beginning, but I'll tell you what, dude. I got one maybe a couple weeks ago.
We both bought a box.
Yeah.
Mark Jr. were in the.
There you go.
We're in the back of the unit. Mark Jr. was like, "Oh, I'll take a box of those." I'm like,
I said, guys,
I'll take a box of those too.
I said, guys, you've got to revisit this cigar. It's a and it got boom. A box.
Will, do you see why I hide stuff?
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know what site. I don't know where I read it. I don't know if it was linked to Will, whoever. It was a person saying that the 2009 was falling off the table, that it wasn't smoking as good. I don't know where I read that. I said, I don't know.
I loved it. I loved it. It wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me either.
No. I know if you not used that said it, Will. I don't know if you were linked. Just if you put it up there or something. I don't know where I read it. It's just a phenomenal cigar.
Yeah. Well, what else have you been smoking? What's on your list?
I smoked a cigar. Have you guys heard of the 262 Revere?
I heard a 262 before, but not that cigar. No.
That's Clint Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Clint Aaron, who's a really good guy. We got to get him on the show. He's a friend of mine as well. The Revere is the Nicaraguan Puro line he released last year, but I smoked his Lonsdale, which is a limited edition, retail exclusive to J. Shepherd Cigars in Louisville, and I got to thank them for sending me those cigars. It's actually a 6x46, so it's a little bigger than a Lonsdale, but it's a jalapa binder. Jalapa wrapper, double binder of jalapa and Esteli Condega and jalapa filler. This is a classic Nicaraguan Puro. So if you like coffee, natural tobacco, earth, and pepper, this is really good. I'm a huge fan of the Revere blend. The Robusto was a top 15 cigar for me last year. The Lonsdale does not disappoint. It's a box-worthy cigar. It does come in boxes of 10, while the other ones come in boxes of 20. Really, if you like, if you've smoked the Nica Puro by Alec Bradley, you'd like this. This is actually a Plasencia-made cigar, though. I'd encourage you to try this blend, even if you can't get the Lonsdale. It's a really good blend.
Nice. I smoked a Padron 1926 Natural. This one was gifted to me by Stogie Santa from his personal collection.
Yeah, I got one of them too.
It's just an outstanding. What size was this, Stogie Santa? 35?
No.
It was bigger than 35.
6. It's a Robusto.
6, the Robusto. Yeah, it was a Robusto. Outstanding cigar. This is one of the ones, that just age really well. It's amazing after the age, the spice and flavor and pepper that was still present. Nice flavor profile. The natural in this blend is equally as good as the Maduro, if not better in some sizes. And is such a different flavor profile. And I always put that out there for Padron. I almost wish they would make a box that you could purchase, right, that has 10 of the natural and 10 of the Maduro or something like that.
Or
and
5
even
and
split.
5.
Yeah, or a 5 and 5 would be fantastic because I really like both of those wrappers so much. This is box worthy. Buy a box, and again, this is when you can smoke a little bit when you first get it and kind of make that progression, and they'll still be smoking great. How many years of age did these
I got
have
those
on?
I say at least 6 years, because that's when I got them. When I first started working here, I fell in love with that cigar from
I
day
like
one.
I like on the show to I'll be able to highlight cigars that will age that long, right? Because some cigars do fall off, right? Some cigars you have to let age. And then there are some that you can buy and smoke the entire time that you have them in your humidor, and they're fantastic the entire time. And this falls in that category.
Hey, if you want to stay just in the Padron line, right, the 64s are ones that you smoke right when you get them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the 2000 series is something I think you should put down with some age, right? And then the 26 is something that's good straight through. So
That's a good point.
Me,
But-
Paul,
Yeah.
are you going to go into the...
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, no, I was just going to say, you had mentioned like getting, if they made a half a box, they actually, the gift set, they make that. What is it?
Yeah.
Like 6 cigars. You can get the natural. You could get a 6-pack of natural or
And
the
'Pack of Maduro, yeah.
Or
and buy
I'll,
them individually.
or I'll
Yeah.
gladly sell you a box of the natural and the Maduro. Because you want to put some away so you'll have them for a while. I can do that for you.
The funny part is I've bought several boxes of each from you already, which is,
But you know what's amazing? You say this about Padron. Again, we're not sponsors of Padrones. We can ask Paul.
yeah.
There's nothing aged in the back because
Yes.
nothing stays in the back.
I came in for the 80th, and he's like, well, these don't have a lot of age. And I was like, well,
Nothing
whatever,
does.
I don't
There's
care.
nothing
But
back
yeah,
there.
yeah.
There is absolute. It's amazing with that cigar from the 1,000, from the 2,000 up to the 6,000 and in between, and the 26 and the 64s. It makes no difference, people. And I think, to be honest with you, in a Fasario, putting the age, I think you're wasting time.
Yeah.
You really are. I mean,
I could be wrong and correct me, but I
Except
can't
for
think of a company
26.
that does what they do. They sell everything they have. They don't have a sales force. They don't honor back orders. It's all on you to call them. And their consistency, they just don't budge. Everything they do is the same. And
Now,
I
I
love
want to
that-
ask you, aside in Mark and Paul both, you've been a Padron. You've had Padron in the shop for a really long time. You've been
Almost
retailer
from the
for
onset,
yeah,
yeah.
from the beginning almost, right? What is your favorite, aside from the Millennium Blend, right? What is your favorite Anniversario release? You know, they've got the 44th and the 45th,
The Family
and
Reserve.
the
you're talking
80th,
about.
Family Reserve.
Family
Family
Reserve.
Reserve.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. The 40th, right? And they've got the 46th, which I smoked recently. I thought was very, very good. What is your favorite one out of all of it? And they make both those, right, in the natural and Maduro wrappers to throw that into the mix, and they both present different profiles in those Family Reserve blends.
My favorite one they've ever come out with, for me, hands down, was the Millennium.
Yeah, besides that, though.
Besides that,
So after the Millennium, the Millennium is very special.
you know, like I said, but I'm going to lean right. You know what? 45, the Family Reserve 45th Maduro.
I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you.
That's
it's
mine.
hot.
I like them all.
I like
mean,
them all.
I do, yeah. You would
I'm
never
gonna go
refuse
off-
one of them,
I'm
right?
gonna-
Yeah.
I'm going off the little. Believe it or not, it caught me by total surprise. I'm going to say, I hate to be this Chilizé type. The 44 Natty.
Natural.
Yeah,
That's
44th
me.
natural.
That's
And
me.
that's your choice too, Will?
Yep.
That's mine.
44 natural.
So if you had to buy a box, right, it would
I
be
would. The 44
now,
isn't that
45th.
something
I
special?
don't agree with any. Disagree with any of you. Yeah.
That 44 natural, and knowing I did, I just could. I said, oh my God, it's just something special. It really is. Isn't it? Will, isn't it this? Take the profile on that. Is that cigar a journey or what?
It's a journey. That's the best analogy I heard. Yeah.
Oh, that cigar is like the 45th. I get it. I can understand why you like that cigar. I really, truly do. But that you get that last 3 inches or 2.5 inches of that 44, and it's just like I don't want to put it down.
Yep.
You hooked me up with one of them in my first time
Yeah.
where I sent people in here to
Yeah.
buy stuff for me for
Yep.
Christmas, and I came to you after it came in, and you're like, make sure you smoke that Patron, right? And I was like, oh well, good thing you told me because I wasn't going to smoke it. I mean, Patron sucks, you know.
And you know something? That's nothing. I wish I would have done that. Like when I first started working here, I would love to see what a 44 Natty with about 3-4 years of age on that. I would like to see what that would do.
So now, even at that high price tag, though, that's kind of a retail specific question. They sell really well. I mean, they're in the
Yes.
very much of the higher end of price tag cigars you can buy in the store.
It's true. It does. I think that's when it comes. I think that's almost like same thing with Scotch or bourbon. Your high end bourbon, Scotches, and cigars will always stay high end. And only the top 15-20% of people can buy. It's never going to change. They are what they are.
There aren't too many companies that can release a $30 cigar.
Or have it sell that well.
And it sells right off the bat. It just takes off.
And people
No,
go
I
back
think
to-
the
and
two
people
right
go back
off the
to it.
bat.
Absolutely. They
Two
don't
right
buy-
off the bat, Davidoff and Padron.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
the ones that do it.
Yep. And I had a salesperson.
come back and
off
buy
the-
'em.
I'll never forget. Again, I guess it's the nature of the beast for me anyway. When we get up to that 15 to 20 to 25, $30 mark, et cetera, your Davidoff or your Padron, and a person comes in and they're very close to that. So I'll smoke a Padron or Davidoff. That's not fair. Well, I say to salesman, what can you tell? If you're putting your cigar in that price range,
Yep.
if
That's
you're
what
going to be
that's
with
what
the
you're
big
competing
boys, you better
Yep.
come up and make sure it's a grand slam because you're competing with the best of the best, and they are what they are. How can you compete? It's difficult.
Will, what else you been smoking out there, Will?
So since we had Fred on last week, I went and revisited his core Dominican Nomad line, and I smoked the Fugitive 2, which is the smaller Perfecto. That's a regular production 6x51 Perfecto.
Yep, that's the one I smoked. I'm
Yeah,
very
Ecuador-
curious to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Dominican binder, Dominican with a hint of Nicaraguan in there. We talked about, I think, a little bit of this when you smoked it last week. It's an unbelievable burning cigar.
It does
so
burn very well.
Construction's top notch. I called it a Dominican Plus. It had notes of grass, some natural tobacco flavors. Then there was some sweetness in terms of caramel and this kind of distinct dried fruit flavor that I think that kind of gave it a little bit of an edge. Medium to full strength, medium to full body. It's a 5 in my book. It's a good cigar. You know, I guess I've been spoiled a little by smoking the LEs that he has out now, which are the Nicaraguans, but it's still a 5. I'd go back for it from time to time.
Yeah, you got to realize they're two different smokes. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
I thought that had for as much Dominican, and I think the size contributed to it too. I think it was enough to hold your attention.
It did.
Yeah, it really had a unique profile to it.
And I think his marketing his background is very bright for the fact of how he put it. Like he said, here I am. I'm working into my Dominican, going into Nicaraguan.
Yep.
And it's very smart. It's a very smart way of doing it. You know, you're working your way up, so to speak, in that tobacco family. And it's just he did a great job from what it sounds like from you guys.
I smoked a Viaje Platino Reserva VPR DT. That's a double torpedo. It's a Nicaraguan Corojo 99 wrapper and Nicaraguan binder and filler. There were actually, and I got this from Coops, from the Cigar Coop website, there were actually 2 Vitolas released in this blend, which I didn't know. Now, I smoked the double. Yeah, there were a double torpedo, which is a 5 3/4 by 52.
Yeah.
There was also a 6 by 50 box pressed.
I didn't know that.
In this.
That's the VPR 6.
Yep.
That's the VP. Yep.
Oh, I got him here.
Oh wait, so was that the next release of them,
yeah.
or was that
We had the
from this?
VPR 6 here.
Yeah, I could show
The
him to you.
VPR 6 was first, and then he
okay.
released the double torpedo in 2011. It was a one-time release.
I wouldn't have got him anywhere else.
Yeah. But he releases the VPR number 6 with the VOR, which is the Oro Reserve, or 5. He tends to release those at the same time.
We had those.
Yeah, so I bought a bunch of the Platino and the Oro.
Yeah, a while back
Yep.
we did.
I really do like this blend. The Platino, especially in this double torpedo, and even the regular blend, has this nice crisp flavor. That's the best way I can find to describe it. In that regular Platino is discontinued, but has that same characteristic of crispness. The burn was a little tough on this one. It was a little crooked, a little snug. Not enough to really detract from it. The flavors were really good. The spice seems to persist throughout, which is kind of interesting, and I really enjoyed it. I have more construction, kind of those little issues with the Platino over the Oro in this particular double torpedo VPR, which was also released in the Oro. I like the Oro better than the Platino, but the Platino's a little different. Like I said, it's got that nice crisp flavor. I rated this a 5.
Coop, I know that you're close with Andre. I think we had this conversation, but I want to just revisit it. What's your feeling? I thought his limited stuff was good. We still have a little bit of the red label and black labels that left over from his initial blends.
Yep.
The 1s, 2s, and 3s. They're smoking unbelievable.
Is that the 50-50?
The 50-50.
The 50.
Yeah.
I always liked the. I was more on the black. I always was more on the black.
Me too.
With
I
those,
agree
yeah.
too. But that being said, why did you ever ask him this question? Why he decided to get away from that?
In terms of
dropping that regular line, going everything to a limited scenario. Everything's limited this, limit whatever he's coming up with, a double-edged sword, etc. Where he went to 50-50 in his regular lines of Platino and Oros. You wouldn't believe with the time that's what, good 5 years ago, and we have a little bit of those in the back room to the left, and they're smoking unbelievable. So the question, if you can answer it for Andre, what was the thought process behind him dropping his regular production lines? Okay,
I did ask Andre that, and what Andre told me is the plan all along was the model he has now, to be limited small batch. It's more the small batch production where he was going to do these small batches. But he told me when he started out 5 years ago to get into the shops, he knew he had to have something core and make it regularly. So that's when those cigars came out. But the plan all along was to have this type of model, which is a unique model. But he just felt he couldn't get it off the ground any other way. So that was kind of a temporary thing all along. Mm-hmm. If you haven't smoked his Lancero, the original Lancero in that Platino, smoke it, and I can get you some.
Okay.
That may be the best.
Really?
That may be the best blend. That may be the best size in the Platino I've had.
I have actually never tried that.
No,
I've
I've never
always
tried that
wanted
either.
to, yeah.
He said he stopped making that because they were having trouble rolling that. It was just a tough cigar to roll. But we have them in North Carolina. Send me a reminder. I'll get you guys some.
Okay.
That's a real nice cigar.
Because a friend of ours we haven't seen for ages, Walter, mentioned about that cigar, saying it was the best cigar he ever put out.
They are smoke. Yeah, they smoke real good now.
Nice. I smoked a La Gloria Cubana Series R Robusto. This is a... will you let me get through it first?
I just asked why. I just want to why?
Because I've never reviewed it on the show.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Relax over there.
I didn't say anything negative.
Sumatra wrapper, Dominican Republic and Nicaraguan filler, and a Nicaraguan binder. These are about $5 a piece. I got these on a bargain closeout. I bought these from you when you were closing them. You closed them out.
That was
Yeah, natural wrapper.
no negativity here.
Yeah, it had some serious age on it, right? When I bought them, they were old. I put another 3 years on them. Many reviews actually state these as a full-bodied smoke. I smoked it in the morning, like right after breakfast.
Well, you're not a normal person.
But it wasn't that strong, I think, because it probably had 6 or 7 years worth of age on it, so the strength had really come down on the smoke. And a lot of people say that the Maduro version is stronger with the Connecticut broadleaf. It opened up with some spice and some nice wood flavors, and overall it was enjoyable. I mean, nothing to really get me excited. There wasn't a lot of complexity or anything like that, but it was a decent smoke for $4 or $5 to smoke in the morning with coffee. It was enjoyable, and I rated it a $5.
All kidding aside, and I'll let Paul take it from here. The LaGuardia Cabana, we can say this and that. Paul will tell you how hard they were to get in when he first got into the business, how hard LaGuardia Cabana was to
and
get
I want to say
shop.
EP Carrillo blended this one, right?
Yep.
Excuse me, but Paul will tell you to get LaGuardia Cabana in a shop 15 years ago was like...
In 96...
Listen to this.
In 96, I would travel around to all the big smokes. I just started in a business. And Ernie, I mean, this was incredible. Here was a guy that was the most sought-after cigar, realistically. Everybody wanted those LaGuardias. What was that little Robusto? What was the name of the Robusto size, Will? I forgot the name of it now.
Of the R?
No, regular LaGuardia.
Wavel?
Yes. Yeah, the little Wavel,
Yeah.
natural
Yeah.
Maduro.
Lovewell.
In 96, I had met Ernie a couple of times, and I had told him, I said, everybody calls your office trying to get online with you. I said, I got on a plane, and I flew out here to talk to you and show you pictures of my shop. He had told me at that time, he said, I will pick you up. He said, he talked to me for quite a while, and he said, I got a feeling you're going to be a guy that I'm going to want to do business with later on. Right now, I don't need you. But he said, I'm going to want you later on. So he said, I will get you a few boxes a month, because you'll get 3 or 4 boxes. You don't know what you're going to get. What you get, that's it. And he said, and if you ever tell anybody, he goes, but I'm going to let you get your beak wet. I remember him telling me that. He said, you're going to get to the table and you're going to get your beak wet. He goes, if you tell anybody you got him direct, he said, you'll never get another box from me, period. He goes, are we clear? I said, that's it. His word was golden. When those cigars come in, you literally, you could have made one call and one guy would have taken 4 boxes. They were just that in demand.
Oh, big time.
Wow.
Incredible. And those cigars were special. Everything. I don't care if it was the Charlemagne, the big one. I
smoked some of the old Charlemagnes, and they were good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I still have a ton of those, too.
No.
What was that?
I can't.
I'll break those back out. I've got some with some serious age
I
on them,
can't
too.
think of the name. It was like a torpedo.
What, those Figurado ones they came out with?
Oh, yeah, the Reserva Figurados.
Yeah, the Reservas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, they had 3 of them, and one was like a big...
Gigantic one.
It was like a
In
big...
fact, I gifted some of those out to the Stogies
It was
for
like a
Christmas time.
Solomon.
Those
Yeah.
are really good.
Yeah. We should smoke those maybe on the
Yeah.
show or something. Yeah.
And that's
Those are
something.
it's very different, and they still release the Reserva Figurados. And I bought a box of the Maduros, and they're really good. They're
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yep. Excellent.
Well, that guy's a bit of a rock star in the industry. I mean, there's a few people at the top, right? And he's definitely one of them.
He is the guy. He's like the James Brown of cigars. He is the true
absolutely.
godfather.
He's a class act from head
Isn't
to
he?
toe.
He is.
Humble.
I never met him, but
humble.
I've only heard that from
Yeah.
everybody.
Oh,
He told me they're working on some projects. This was last year at IPCPR, some I guess, new projects of kind of exploring some new hybrid methods in the Dominican. And I'd be curious if we get him on the show how the progress is going with that, because
And-
he's just an innovator. The guy's an innovator.
hey,
as
that's
well.
a great. If there's a great one-word description of him.
Well, you got a few more cigars on your list? That was my last one.
Well, yeah, I got 2 more.
Okay.
So
ahead.
I'll
Go
start
on.
off with the La Flor Dominicana Chapter 1.
Oh, interesting. I wanna hear
Yep, that
this.
is the box press chisel.
And is that the only box press chisel? I mean, Mark
That-
Jr. showed it to me, and
Yes.
I'm like, I've never seen a cigar that's a box press, and a chisel.
Right.
in the
I
same-
don't know.
Yeah.
Is that the only one I know of? You will.
It has to be because the chisel is LFDs.
Unique.
I mean,
Yeah.
They have a trademark on it, so it's a box. This was actually Lito's son Antonio.
Right, first.
Worked on this project. It's a Brazilian Escudo wrapper, and it's real beautiful, that wrapper. Connecticut broadleaf as the binder, so it's kind of interesting there. And then it's Dominican fillers from the Gomez farm, La Canela. It's a 6.5 by 58 box press. It looks a little smaller because I guess the box press has an MSRP of $10.50. I liked it. It had notes of mocha, red pepper, grass, some nut.
It had some grass flavor in it? Really?
Yeah, some little grass in the background. But it had this herbal spice that I was getting out of it that I thought was interesting. It just, I was expecting it to smoke like a Maduro, and it really didn't. But it was good. It was really good. I had it as a box split. They advertised it as the fullest body chisel to date. I don't know if I agree with that. It didn't overpower me in terms of strength or flavor, but it was good, and I think the chisel worked well with the box press. I mean, it was I didn't feel like it was a very easy cigar to smoke.
I think the fullest body chisel they put out is the Maduro.
That's what I would say too. This I didn't think was as strong as the Maduro.
Oh, I tell you what. Remember, this is when we go back when we were doing the grotto nights with Chip. Remember in the back room, Paul dug out a box of the LFD, the Maduro chisels, and they had the old LaFleur band on them
with the flower on them.
Oh my God! I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was just. And then he only had one. Oh, I would. You
what
talk
did we have? I think I had about a box and a half.
Box.
Remember the El Japos that were the El Jaco Maduros
were
12 years old?
Yeah.
We had about 3 boxes of those. We brought them out.
Gone.
Put them out.
Yeah, I smoked all mine too.
What a mistake.
They never lasted the night.
But I'm telling you, that was the best chisel. It's only chisel by LFD, but don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'll never forget that. It's, one of those cigars you got in the back on the memory banks that you just can't forget.
Yep. Factory press 3s came out. You broke those out around the same time with all the plume covered on it.
Oh God! And then
That's an Oasis level smoke right there. The factory press 3s.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Will, you're gonna like this. I want to take a minute. About 5 years ago, I had a guy come in, did a ton of business with me, and Stogie Santa knows what I'm talking about. He said, "I don't care how much it is. I need something that you just can't get." And I had picked up a box of Padron Pyramid Maduros. When I got them off this guy, they were 12 years old, and I had them for about 3 years. They were covered in plume. I asked this gentleman 3 times. They're a gift for somebody. The only reason why I did it, because he did a ton of business with me. He owned a huge restaurant, and he said, "I need something special for this guy." I sell him the box. He brings it back 2 days later. He said, "My cigar expert said these cigars are moldy. There's all white stuff on them, and he doesn't want to return them." I never got to take them back because there was a customer on the side of them that absolutely was packing wood. He looked at him and he said, "You're returning this box?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, they're bad." He goes, "I agree. I'll take them." And took them right out. And then he looks at the guy and says, "Buddy, did you fuck up?" And I said, you can't have them back.
Yeah, what are you gonna? Yeah, what are you gonna
do?
do?
Can you imagine that? And it was sad because I didn't get to take them back, and I would have never let this go for anybody except this guy did a lot of money with me.
Right.
And then some stranger walked off with that box. It's gone. I can't replace that.
So, Will, what do you get next on your list? Is it a 15-year-old pyramid? No.
No, 13 and a half.
The poor cigar Will's going to do next. I see it with.
I don't want to. It's a 6-month-old bait fish. There's no disrespect to the bait fish.
Right? It's not a bad cigar, right?
No. It's one of those good short smokes. It's that San Andreas Mexican wrapper.
Now, Will, is this from the original?
Bingo.
Yeah. So I found with this blend, Will, that the original release that was exclusive to NHC, which we just talked about with Casey Johnson, was very different from the new release that came out.
I didn't smoke enough of those. to make a judgment, although I've heard that. I didn't smoke enough of them from New Havana, so this was one that I got generally available. I bought a 5-pack at an event where the recently now departed Jose Blanco from Hoya de Nicaragua.
That's right. That was recent news. Yep.
Yep, that blockbuster news.
Yes.
But I smoked the baitfish. It's got that Mexican wrapper, Connecticut binder, Brazilian Matafina filler, and Nicaraguan Petit Corona 4x44. 5-packs, 31 by 70. They go for. It's a nice smoke. I think we talked about probably this being one of the better muat sizes. Cocoa, leather, pepper. It's not going to light the world on fire, but it does its job, and it does it well. Since it's in a 5-pack, it's always worth a $5 in my book. I enjoyed them. I wish I could have compared them against the New Havana ones. So.
Yeah, I think you would have found that you would have liked the New Havanas a lot better. Not taking anything away from what that blend that you smoked, Will, but I got to agree with Paul on that. I thought they were just really. I thought they were almost box. Well, I would say box worthy on original baitfish. What do you think, Mark? On original.
I think if you dig around in our lowest category, you might find my assessment on the new ones. But
no, the original.
Oh, the original was special.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Special.
It really was. It was a.
Just so you guys know, on October 3rd is when Jose Blanco is scheduled to be on the show.
Well, we may have one of the first interviews with him.
Yeah, so he is currently scheduled and confirmed for October 3rd.
Oh,
yeah, he'll keep his word, too, I believe.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we may have, who knows, this could be a Stogie Geeks exclusive first interview, so this could be good for us.
Any closing thoughts? Closing cigars? Steve and I smoked a Nub Cameroon. Did you guys ever smoke that cigar?
No. That's a good cigar.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. The Nub, I guess I had high expectations for the Cameroon wrapper, right? The sweetness that you normally get from a Cameroon was almost like had a sourness component, and not in a bad way, right? Like sourness when you drink a margarita. It's a little bit when you drink a margarita, right? Yeah. It's a little bit sour, but it's got the sweetness component to it, and it's kind of blended like that. Yeah. That's how the Nub Cameroon was, right? It had that Cameroon sweetness, but there was a little bit of sourness in there. And I think that stems from that wrapper to filler ratio, right? That Nub cigar is a very high ring gauge and a very small format. So Steve and I smoked the same one. Steve, what'd you think of that Nub Cameroon? Steve really liked it. You gotta talk in the mic or you get yelled at by the audio engineer.
I smoked the whole thing. It was pretty good.
Well, I mean, if you smoked the whole thing, it could have been all bad, right?
No.
Did you smoke the torpedo or
it was the torpedo? Yeah.
I kind of like the regular better than that, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Of all the nubs, I'm not a big nub guy. The Maduro.
Yeah, the Nub Maduro is good. I picked up a nub somewhere, like a sampler pack, cheap, just to try it because I was. Yeah.
How are nubs doing right now? They seem to have lost a lot of steam lately.
Quite a bit.
They've lost a lot of steam. I you know what? I never cared for the Cameroon. I really didn't.
It was okay.
But I never cared for the marketing of that cigar, to be honest with you. That they were selling you the sweet spot.
And there was another. How about while we're on about cigars that are up and down in trends, LaDuane, you're down your end of the woods. How is that doing, Will?
It actually, it's not on fire right now, even with the new box press. Which I like that new box press. I actually think that big box press was the best size. I can't say it's been a huge seller. I don't know kind of how it's doing in other
I'm just saying up our way. I'm just curious because it's gone to where it came out, did well, and at this point it's at a very, very low spot.
Stagnant, if you will.
Let me ask a question here, and I don't mean this to sound the wrong way, but that Cameo band, which do you think that affects the sales of it sometimes?
It's a great point.
That's a good point.
I don't want to knock.
You don't like to think a band affects the sales, but it does.
You say that, but aren't we going back to what we said again? We're beating the dead horse to death. It does. And you talk about. I'm going back to Cabo One and La Marquesa.
It's not. I'm looking at it.
I feel like, am I smoking a girl cigar here or what? And no disrespect. I don't mean any disrespect like that. There are some great women in this industry. So first of all, I don't want to put it out like that. I don't want to.
That's why I
you know what though? I like the flavor profile of the La Dueña. I have had some construction issues. Some of the draw has been a little tough on various ones, and I tell you what, it kind of gets in the back of your mind when you go to your humidor. And I've got some La Dueña in the humidor, and I'm like, I really like that. But the last couple I smoked, I had to fight with it a little bit.
I found more of a consistency with the
consistency.
flavor.
Yeah,
The
consistency with
CYB
flavor.
did that for me too, man.
Absolutely, the CYB is in that same category for me, and they came out around the same time.
How's CYB doing? Because when Half Wheel leaked, said the story yesterday on.
Oh no, they're 50% flat tire, right?
Well.
Get with it, Will.
No, the CYB up this, I'll speak for Paul. We just don't do a lot with it.
Yeah.
When they wrote their story yesterday, they mentioned something about that, and
Yeah,
I had heard it wasn't selling well. It's a and I think there's certain sizes where it's really good, but I
agree.
I think it's maybe I don't know how the sales are doing with that right now either. It doesn't seem like it's strong.
No, it did, like I said, when we were at the show in Orlando, when we did I went crazy for the, Jose came up to me and Paul. We're doing a dinner down there.
What are we smoking, Lancero?
No,
Not the Lancero, the Lonsdale?
They got a Lonsdale, yeah.
Lonsdale.
Paul and I were sitting there and said, you believe that? Paul's looking at me. I'm looking at him. This is a no-brainer. We smoked another one. Here you go. Everything's great. And that cigar, to me, to be honest with you, the construction issues with that thing was monstrous.
Yep.
It was terrible. I hate to see that because he's a great guy.
I do. I don't like to see that either.
He's nothing but a gentleman, and he's the guy. How can you speak ill of it? But that cigar we had a hard time with. It's just too bad because it's supposed to be the same wrapper with the Willie Herrera. Now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll just ask another question. This is one for Paul Joyle. Blue bands. Now that has a blue band on it, and I hear this thing that blue band cigars don't sell.
Awful.
Yep.
Awful. You take colors like those mauve brands, pastel color brand colors on a band.
Easter egg colors.
It's a death sentence. It's not appealing. It's I hate to say it, but I'm not going to say it because there's so many women in the business, but it is kind of like a guy thing. And when the guy sees a pastel color and a light blue band or a mauve color or a rose color band, it just, I don't know, it kind of rubs you the wrong way or something. And I think what you touched on the La Dueña
you say
band.
that, but take a look at the Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Do you like that band?
Yeah, but it doesn't sell.
I'm not thrilled about the band. I like the Robusto in that particular band. I think it's fantastic.
For the most part, if the cigar delivers, I think you could put
it aside. You can put whatever you want on the band.
But when a cigar is just marginal, and then you start to find something wrong with it.
There's a difference
between That's a good
point. Your taste and the average consumer.
It would be interesting, right, to take like a really popular cigar and put like a band on it that was like light pink with butterflies on it, right? And just put it out there and say, hey, try this and tell me what you think, right?
Well, we do a lot of unbanded smoking on the show too, right?
You just made my.
How about we do a rebanded smoke?
Rebanded. We should trademark that. It's the rebranded smoke of the week.
It was so funny. I'm not mentioning no names, and Paul knows what I'm talking about. There was a big name in the industry that turned around, had a decent run with the cigar, come back and put his name on it, same cigar, put his label on it, and sold it.
Well,
never did anything.
It's a great point that it does play into the consumer's view of what they're buying.
I won't mention the name, but he had contacted me and said, I will sell you because I've got about 150 boxes, and offered them to me at an incredible price. And it was like, 150 boxes, and it just, it's a tough sell. I mean, he could never get anybody to grab them. Oh, I guess he just didn't want to throw them to a catalog, and ended up changed the packaging, took the band off, put a new band, great looking band, new box, and then released it at the show, and it just took off.
That's really funny.
And that hasn't been done. That's been done more than once.
But you know what's funny? And as we're winding down Stogie Geeks episode, we have a gentleman that comes into our shop, and we're saying that if we match our palates at top 5%, give or take. This gentleman only smokes one particular brand of cigar. Comes in to me, says there's something, and this guy is clockwork. Box or more a week of one particular brand.
Box a week.
At least. I tell Paul, he picked out the little color variation, so be it.
Color variation in the band or
And
the wrapper? In the wrapper,
I'm
okay.
sorry. But more importantly, I'm not worried about it. It doesn't taste right. There's something wrong.
Something different.
And guess what?
He
was right. He called up the distributor, and here we are. The point I'm getting at, as much as we think, and when someone's honed in on one brand,
yeah, they're the expert, right?
They are so vital.
Smokes.
That's all he smokes.
Always smokes.
That person is vital to that company.
Absolutely.
I call the manufacturer. I call the salesman.
We're talking big.
I get a phone call the next day from the vice president of sales and says, I haven't heard this. This is the first I hear of it. I'm going to look into it. Looks into it, gets back to us 2 days later, said we've had 2 other calls, but they were from boutique shops like yourself. And he said, we looked, and there is an issue, and they're addressing it, and they're picking up the particular batch that I have, the code. And they're resending from another batch.
Wow.
And it all came down to the way the tobacco was folded over in the blend, and it affected the burn a little bit. So instead of it was hollowing a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah.
But now you're smoking more of a hero, and you're not getting the wrapper to come into it.
Amazing.
And
that's a really great point. And
but you know what? The company, being class as they are, they take every complaint big time serious and looked into it. And this customer brought it to Mark's attention. Mark brought it to mine. And usually, you call up sometime and it's like, well, we haven't had any complaints. They don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I guess they respected the source where it came from and looked into it, and then started getting a couple of other complaints.
Wow.
Yep.
So I will put myself in that 5%.
Excellent. Well, everyone, thank you very much for appearing on the Stogie Geek Show and participating. Fantastic episode. Thanks to our special guest, Casey Johnson. Thanks to
kudos
to Dennis. Don't forget to join the CRA, Cigar Rights of America.
Very important.
Find them online.
Very,
please
very
join that organization. Visit our website, stogiegeeks.com and cigar-coop.com. As well as visit our sponsors, especially Mr. J. Havana Smoke Shop.
Absolutely.
Has an online presence. You can call the store here. We receive lots of emails all the time about cigar. If it has anything to do with the brand or purchasing cigars, I'm going to call the store. Order the cigars from here because we pique a lot of interest in a lot of different brands. So thank you very much for sponsoring, and thanks everyone very much for listening. And we'll see everyone else on the next episode of the Stogie Geek Show.